Coming up on the next episode of the Dream is Love Conversations, we speak with two professional comedians, Linda Schwartz and Danny Rag. But behind the laughter, who are the people? What have they gone through? What makes them laugh? And why is laughter good medicine? Here's a preview.
My Piper knows half the stuff I went through, and a lot of the attacks that was happening to me were through the church. You know, with me being, how could I say it, kind of like rough around the edges of the street type of person, you know what I mean? Because I grew up outside, like, in a hooded area, but I grew up in the church. So my parents always kept me in the church to keep me off of the streets. And I was kind of like, that was my goal, was like, just while I'm in LA, I know so much that goes on in LA. You hear all the rumors, and like you said, everybody's being exposed. So it was kind of like, man, I want to go to church. I just want to stay off the streets. I want to do something positive, and that's why I got attacked really the most. But I fought through it.
I've been masking my light in the world so that I can be mothered, so that I can be received, so that I can feel some sort of love and some sort of acceptance. And, you know, I come to comedy because, like, who doesn't like to laugh? That's like, you know, who doesn't want to feel good in the arms of an audience? You know, and being on stage for me is cradling that need for myself.
Welcome to the Dream is Love Conversations. Please send us your questions and we will answer them live. You can send those questions to thedreamislove@gmail.com. Let's talk. We, as a body of humanity, have found ourselves in a time of chaos, of struggle, of anxiety, fear, isolation, and depression. But this is a 3D consciousness. It is comprised of a lower density vibrational frequency because it operates in the third dimension, where we view things from a purely physical state and view ourselves as separate from others. We believe that we are in competition with others, and we operate from a concept of scarcity and victim consciousness. But we have moved out of that and into the fourth dimension, the 4D, where we begin to awaken to the understanding and the knowing that we are all connected, that there is more to life than what we can access physically, and that our thoughts and feelings impact our reality. We begin to understand that there is a greater purpose in life, and we search for something more meaningful than our materially based world. It started with tears and a deep connection between Linda Schwartz and I. It was supposed to be a conversation about comedy as a good medicine, but it became the heart of two mothers, two people witnessing life, and it looked like this. That deep breathing. I needed that deep breathing, Linda.
Oh, Mama. Mm.
It was so emotional. And it's funny because I think this is the reason that I said to myself last night, I really want to get back on here with just Linda, because the premise of what this is, like the whole reason and purpose that I even started doing this, was to find a way to look for, hear about, you know, the third dimensional alternatives to healing, emotional, physical, spiritual healing, and how alternative medicines like drama therapy, art therapy, therapy, comedy, meditation, indigenous medicines, how these have been like really the only tools that I believe are going to survive the test of time, number one, and number two, that they're probably the only way truly back home, because they connect to the sacred part of like your heart and love and compassion and community and humanity. And so it's really funny because I'm having such an emotional day.
Oh, me too.
And I feel, and when I'm really emotional, I feel really like I'm so connected to what's going on in this plane.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like right here on this plane, and I'm not I'm not allowing myself yet this morning to rise above, what the emotions that I'm feeling, you know. And anyway, I think that was why this was sort of important to me because I'm trying to find out what is the balance? Like, what does all this mean? What's the purpose of it? Why am I going through this? Why am I feeling this? Why do we all go through all of this stuff? What's the soulful fifth dimensional vision to what this is about? Why do we choose the journeys that our souls have chosen? And I really wanted to ask those questions of, with you, of you, like, you know, and also how healing it is to be able to laugh when life is really hard, so, and since you're like one of my best friends, like a sister, like you belong in my soul, we understand each other's tears and each other's laughter, and just wanted to talk about just sort of life on the third dimension, why we think we've gone through the things we're going through, the world's going through what it's going through, what's the bigger lesson here, and why did we choose the arts as our way of walking through
Mm.
the world in this incarnation, like, and all the hard times that go with it.
Man, that's too deep. That's so deep. I'm like, oh, I'm like, like, I mean, gosh, I honestly, like, I'm just sitting here in this moment right now, being with you, and and I get it. Today has been, I'm still processing from over the weekend, and yesterday was better than today. Today, I feel like I've had tears just stuck in my gut, just waiting to come forward, and I haven't yet had the opportunity to let them flow. And um and a lot of that I think is just, when we get to our day to day, I have a 4-year-old who's out in his room singing opera right now, trying to get through his day. He's waiting to go to the pool. He's about to come in right now because he heard me say his name. But hi baby. You want to come say hi to Miss Piper? No? You ready to go to the pool? Okay, just a few more minutes, okay? I'll be right out.
Hi,
Mm.
Huxley.
Come here, come say hi. Come say hi to Miss Piper. Come show her your outfit. Oh yeah, he'll show you his outfit. Here, say hi here.
Hi.
Say hi. We're
Hi,
getting ready to go to the
Huxley.
pool. Say hi.
Hi,
Hi.
Huxley. Hi. I love when you play piano. It makes me happy. When you play the piano, it makes me so happy. You are so good.
Yeah. What's she saying? She likes your piano? Yeah. Yeah. Say thank you. Thank you.
You're
Okay, well, I'll be
welcome.
a few more minutes, okay? And we'll get going soon. Okay, he's winking at you.
He winked me.
Did you see he said,
He said,
okay, baby, close the door. I'll be right out, okay?
why was that the cute? I got a flirt. He said,
He said, you've been working on that wink,
it was
girl.
all sultry.
Been
Yeah.
working on that wink, that baby. So, like I'm feeling, I'm having all of this pent up emotion, pent up sorrow, pent up sadness that's like just waiting to erupt out of me. And yet here I am trying to temper it down with, just trying to be present with him and not allow myself to just get pulled away into those moments because I don't have to be present, but I'd like to show up for him today. My husband's getting ready to leave. I'm in this like, wanting to connect with you and get this completed and done and, and move on and get on with my day. But like, it's just life is, I don't know. So like, I'm just going to start here. What came forward for me this weekend in that seminar was, it's called Insight One, Awakening the Power of Your Heart. And I got broken wide open. And, you know, I might have mentioned that one of the things that came forward for me was like just having to take care of myself all the time and not having that mothering experience. So that's all I've been like wanting and desiring and looking for in life, is just to be held by another woman who cares for me, and having that mothering feeling. So when you were talking about your experience with Dylan this morning, it was like, wow, like that's what we're here for. That's who we are as women when we have children, like I've never experienced myself as being motherly, but here I am mothering this this baby and this child. And and finally today I'm like allowing myself to just sit in that energy of being a mother, being a nurturer, being somebody who is compassionate and caring and loving. And sometimes it's hard, parenting is hard, mothering is hard, and it's like it's just a reflection of what's going on in the world. It's like, how do we mother each other? How do we come to a place where we fall in love with ourselves and can and nurture ourselves and take care of ourselves so that we can take care of each other? And comedy is one of those things for me. Making people laugh is such a it's a gift, and and it's a beautiful place to be. It allows me to have a filter for myself to look at my life through a different lens rather than through the sorrow, through the sadness, through the depression, through the hurt, through the pain. Like they're all just lenses that we get to put on. And like once I really got that, my whole life became a punchline. And and you know, and and sometimes we forget that like we have these lenses that we can put on and take off, put on and take off. Do we want to look at through life through the lens of compassion? We can do that through the lens of humor. We can do that through the lens of sorrow or sadness, whatever that thing is that we need to get through life. That's what, and sometimes it's just habitual. Today, it's just habitual. We're just going to look through the lens of depression, through the lens of sadness, through the lens of, I'm not good enough, through the lens of, I'm unlovable, through the lens of, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
You know?
totally. Yeah, I do know.
And it's,
Do
and,
you
and
ever feel, I know like as parents, like we're very much responsive to our everyday, sort of
right,
to what's going on in their lives and our lives and what's going on really within the four corners of our home, because there's so much,
always.
that's even separate from what's going on within ourselves. But are you feeling that some of the emotion or the weight or the questioning is part of the collective? Are you feeling all of this that's going on in the world that almost seems unconscionable to to our human experience? Like generationally, I'm thinking, how did our innocent childhoods, and I don't mean innocent in terms of how they unfolded for us as children, but how did the world turn into this, where we wake up every day with a knowledge of war and it's
Girl,
right
I
there.
don't even know. I
I
don't
don't
even
even
know.
know.
I don't even know, but it's
And I'm
like,
exhausted.
girl, I am
I'm exhausted.
hard to like look out there and not feel something and not have something being reflected within us. And I feel like that's the anger that we feel, the disdain for whatever is happening in the world, that angst and that, all of the things that we should be rightly feeling is there, and it's available, and it's making its way through us. And I feel like yes, there is this collective, but there's also this collective underground movement, this grassroots movement of like the spiritual work, the light workers, the light bearers who are coming forward, and it's like it's this. And to me there's this sense of, what am I going to focus on? I know it's like I feel like I'm in this bubble, with my family, all the things that I have to do. And it's like, and I don't watch the news. So I get all of my news through like social media and posts when I'm on. So there are times when I'll just cut myself off from social media so I don't get bombarded with all the things that are going on in the world so I can protect and be the guardian of my own energy and protect and be the guardian of my own mind. And that's hard because everything that you want in life is out there. And what's included out there, it's all the shit.
But one of the things about comedians through history, comedians have a way of bearing witness to what's going on in the world,
Yeah.
politically and otherwise,
Yeah.
all of the shit, and then standing separate from it as if they're in another dimension, looking down on it, and then the filter they put on it is seeing it all as ridiculum. Like the human experience when it's really in its darkest, it's comedy brings it to the absurd so that
Yeah.
we can laugh at how ridiculous some of the most heinous and
Heinous
violent
things are.
and
Yeah.
cruel events that are unfolding are. And I think that's one of the greatest medicines that comedians have is the ability to stand outside of this thing and show it to us through what I call like the funny lens. Remember when we were kids and you go to those circuses and the mirrors would be all
Yeah,
dis
yeah, yeah. The
and no matter
distortions.
what, no matter which direction you were in, it brought a lightness. It made you laugh. And
And it's still a reflection of you because I think most comedians, have to go in and take a look at their point of view, their worldview to see what is funny about that, And so like the comic is a very introspective person and the comic is, and you're absolutely right. They take everything that's outside of them, channel it through and filter it through themselves in a way that is funny, but like girl, I don't know. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to get through this week, like and I don't know and quite honestly, like that seminar that I went to just has like broken me. I feel so raw and so vulnerable right now.
yeah,
Like I've been wanting to cry all day. Yesterday I found myself back and one of my sacred places, the Trader Joe's parking lot with another burrito. You know what I'm saying? Like I just
yeah.
needed, I just, I don't know what's happening inside of me, but I'm feeling like it's like the fourth turning
Absolutely.
almost. You
There's
know
a
what I mean?
huge
It's like
shift that's
there's just,
happening. Yeah.
there's a shift for sure.
Yeah.
And I can only speak for myself. I can only speak for the shift that's happening inside of me, and is that a collective? Is that part of a collective? Is that, the collective consciousness, finally coming around and touching, spreading its wings and spreading its energy field through and finally getting to my part of where I'm located. You know what I mean? It's like in
Yeah.
my destination. And I have
I
no
don't know.
idea.
I
I
hear
don't
you, but it
know.
feels like a
I
quickening.
don't
I almost know what
know.
you're saying.
Yes.
I feel like something is reaching in. I mean, I literally was
Yes.
sobbing all the way to get to the computer to see you, sobbing the whole car ride home on the phone with you, getting on and thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stop crying. To tell you the truth, when I'm talking about the things that are going on, my
Yeah.
health, my daughter, divorce, all of the things, here it goes. It sounds to me like those are the things that I'm crying about. But
Mhm.
somehow I know on a much deeper level, something else is happening.
Yes.
Like I'm being ripped open.
Yes.
I'm being ripped open, and all of these things are coming forth without my wanting them necessarily to come forth. But I almost
Yeah.
feel like there's this major necessity. So I'm walking through the streets or just having a moment. And I'm like, why are you crying? And I feel like I can't put my finger on it. I
Yeah.
can say it's because I was thinking on this or talking about this, but it feels so much deeper. It feels ancient.
Yes. Yes.
Like I'm like an ancient healing is happening
Like
in my
an
vessel
yeah.
and in
It's a
my spirit.
clearing.
It's a clearing.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what I was wondering when I was asking that, of you, like,
Yeah.
are we all going through this? Is this that shift?
I
Is
feel
it
it.
is that collective shift where we're being forced to look in the mirror, to
Yes.
pour these things out of our body, to see all of the entanglements, our emotional entanglements, not to make sense of them, but to purge them, to clear them.
Yes, to clear them.
Because
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
absolutely.
they're meaningless,
I
although they're still meaningful, you know?
Yes. And I feel like whoever's open to that is it's making the ripples are making its way through to
Yeah.
us. And whatever it is, I feel like it is a major spiritual cleansing, a spiritual clearing. And and it's a spiritual calling for the ones who are open to clear and be available for that clearing so that we can be used as vessels, that we can be used as the light bearers and the ones who carry the torch for humanity. And that's a big responsibility. And sometimes there are moments when I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. It's a big responsibility, but it's like God has put it into my life, and it's like now I have it's almost, you know, I don't know how to explain it except that it is the calling that I have to answer, that I
Like we
have
have to
you
answer.
have to answer
Yeah, we
it.
can't like put it on
I,
mute, shut
I
the
can't,
door and put the phone in the
right.
kitchen. It's,
Yeah,
yeah, it's ringing through our soul.
right.
Absolutely.
And, and sometimes there are days when I'm like, I just need to rest. I just need a day for myself where I can just be still. And with a 4-year-old, that doesn't happen. Just
Very
doesn't
often.
happen
That's
very often.
true. That's
And
true.
girl, I don't know. I'm in the space of like just taking it moment by moment, day by day, letting what comes up. I'm just letting it come up and, allowing myself to say, okay, there's something there. There's something available for me. There's something that I need to look at and examine about myself and my life, about where I'm going next, what I'm doing now. And it's a process, and like, and part of that process is being vulnerable with yourself, like
Yeah.
taking a good look in the mirror and saying, why this? Why now? And
Yeah.
what is the purpose? What is the higher purpose? And knowing that there is a higher purpose working through us.
There's such a higher purpose to all of this.
Yeah, there has
I
to
keep
be.
asking
There has
myself,
to be.
yeah, I keep asking
God.
myself, well, if it's true that your soul chooses this journey, that your
Yes.
soul's like, you know what, this go round, I want to have go through these parents and these
Mm-hmm.
experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I have this awakening, this like revelation as to what my soul, the why my soul chose what my soul chose. I've had these moments where I'm like, oh, this makes so much sense because I start getting that past life uh,
Yes.
memories or stories pushing through me and understanding which part of the rung of the ladder headed to the mountaintop of my soul where I am and when I leave this journey, when the baton is passed from my soul to my next incarnation, where I'll be unless I continue to climb now. And so part of me is like, keep climbing because I don't want to come back. And,
Yes.
and and feeling that I must have done this so many times because I feel this ancient wisdom inside of myself, yet these really, I'm making these naive, mistakes in life still. So I'm like, am I old and wise or am I young and stupid? Am I feeling it all at once? Is this just what the journey is?
Yeah.
And then I have
It's
moments
all
of
of that.
why
Yeah.
did I choose this? Why did my soul choose this? And it always ends up with the same answer because every time I say the why me, I realize that every door that's opened, every loss of a home to get another one, every new neighborhood, new city, new town, I have found love. I
Mm,
found you and Lois, like
mm,
my closest on top of a mountain that I had to be pushed up after a sexual assault. What was I
mm-hmm.
doing there? Come off that mountain into a marriage. But what I found was my writing, my
Mm-hmm.
filmmaking, this creative awakening within me
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't have up there that you helped like plant. There were seeds, but I needed to go down. And at the end of it, I realized, oh God, this is kind of cool. This whole evolutionary journey was really about finding about love and all
Yeah.
of the different places love shows up.
Yeah. And it's
And
messy. Life
it,
is, it's all just so messy and gross sometimes, and
yeah,
sometimes we just have to like get through that process and like just
yeah,
allow ourselves to be messy and allow ourselves to be
yeah.
gross to get to to the beauty
Yeah.
of it all. Yeah.
But like when we do this with the mess and muck, at the end of
Yeah.
it, you always go, oh, but
Yeah.
that's where I found that friend.
Yes.
There's like something, there's
There's
always a
always,
diamond. There's always a that you're like, oh, stop looking at the muck, because what if I didn't go through that? I wouldn't have this great love or this great. And at
yeah.
the end of the day, I start thinking, oh, that's what it was all about. It wasn't about that bad experience. It was about finding that diamond. It was about finding that Linda and that Lois and finding that Kana and
Mm,
finding these pockets of beauty that will carry with you, through the rest of your life. And
exactly.
and it wipes away the experiences that led to that, because it's the love between humanity, between the beings. It's your village is being collected along the way. It's almost like a love journey where it's, like where's Waldo? But Waldo is like love and the people you love, and you have to find Waldo through a whole bunch of shit. Like it's not like just look for the striped shirt.
Yeah.
Like Waldo's gonna be through 2 breakdowns. Anyway, I love you. I know the baby's got to go to the pool.
Oh, girl, that baby. He came in here a
I
few minutes
just,
ago talking about how many more minutes.
I just wanted to like, I wanted to reach out. I love you. And I wanted to be in the presence of that love. It's such a profound love that I feel for you. It's really, really deep. Sorry, I'm really emotional today.
I know, I hear you.
And I'm really grateful for that love. And I love seeing where you've come and where you're going, how big and wide your heart is, and how self-expressive and how contemplative you are, and what a beautiful mom you are,
Oh,
and all that we've
thank
become
you for
to be
saying all
here.
that.
Yeah, and I know that we still have life unfolding, we're still healing and fighting through things, but we have each other, and I'm grateful that you always make me laugh. It's really healing for me.
I got all of that. And I love you. And
I
I
love you
honor
so
you and I
much.
see you. And I can't wait to give you a big hug.
You
And
too.
we're
And
gonna
when you hit the stage, Linda, just give them love and make them laugh. That's your
I'll do
medicine.
my best.
And that was so touching, and I knew I needed more. So I wanted to talk again with Linda Schwartz and Danny Ragg and my beautiful co-host, Professor D. So this happened next.
I'm out here cutting the football field.
Look at you.
Wow.
I was like, D-Rag, you
Oh,
look
he
so
must be in North
cute.
Carolina. Where is he? You in the South?
I'm over here in North Carolina, down here in the South.
That's just what Linda said she knew. So first of all, let me just introduce you guys. I have been wanting to get Linda and Danny together forever. Okay, so both of you two southern birds. And then this is Professor Cam. We call her Professor D. She is also a therapist. Here's the reason that I thought this was going to be really important. One of the things that I've borne witness to in this life is no matter what's going on socially, politically, interpersonally, comedy has been one of the greatest traditional medicines for all of mankind. I mean, it is truly a muse that saves lives. And also, like when there's a foundation for relationships, you hear that people say, what's your love language? A lot of people say, oh, they've got to have a sense of humor. The reason being is there's something about the spirit that's able to take the weight of the world, bring it to a place of lightness, and encourage the endorphins in the body, encourage community, bring people together. But comedians don't just become comedians. Life has to happen in every art form. In every single art form, the value and the depth of the artist comes from real life having happened. This is what makes us the healers. And I just wanted, first of all, I just want to ask Danny Rand, where are you walking to?
I'm out here in the middle of the football field. I was trying to
Doing
get away
what?
from
You
that.
about to do a touchdown?
No, I was
Oh my
actually out here
God,
cutting the
me
grass
got
for,
me got
cutting the grass for the kids, you know.
Huh?
No, I
D-Rag,
was
I haven't
actually
seen you in so long. First of all, I have to tell you something funny. So when I
yes,
first
ma'am.
met Linda, I was living up on a mountaintop. There was only 452 people that lived there year round, right?
Wow.
I was the only black person on the mountain. Linda walks into the store I was working in, and Linda said, oh, thank God. She said, there's another black girl here. I just moved here from Georgia. That's Linda. That's how we met. And when I tell you, I looked at her and we fell out. And I thought, this is exactly what life is about. It was the first guttural laugh I'd had in a long time. So Linda Schwartz, Danny Ragland, let's
Yes,
talk.
ma'am. Let's
Yeah.
talk.
So what are you doing, Dan? What's up?
I'm back home in North Carolina now. I decided to come back from LA, take a break for a minute. Been out there 9 years, so I got in with my old high school football coach, and I was like, if I come home, I want to sow back into the next generation. So I'm back coaching now, back coaching football over at the high school. I'm coaching varsity, defensive back. So these past few, maybe these past 3 weeks, have been revitalizing for my life, getting me back in shape, not really smoking and drinking like I used to when I was in LA, back on my workout, back eating clean. So I just feel like a rebirth from the man upstairs. Like I feel good, body is cleansed. My mind is more clean. I can see who's who now. So it's just like, man, God has just been in the blessing season. So I'm glad to be home, but I'm also glad to come home and start a new podcast and got more shows coming up. So I felt like, I like when people take a step away from something, their comfortability, sometimes you feel like you're losing out. And I don't really feel like I'm losing out anything in LA. I just thank God for just showing me the way and me coming home. I've been getting blessed since I've been home. So I'm just glad to be on the phone with you guys.
Can
I
I
know
ask you
something
a
good is going to
question?
come out of this. Yes, ma'am.
So for you to leave Los Angeles, do you believe like you were doing it to save your soul? Like what were you doing in light of how Los Angeles, Hollywood has been getting exposed on so many levels?
In a sense, I felt like it was time. Like I've been out there since November the 1st, 2015. I've been living there, so that's roughly almost maybe 8.5 some years almost, going on 9. And it was time. My goal was to only be there for 5 years. But I went through so much. My Piper knows half the stuff I went through, and a lot of the attacks that was happening to me were through the church. With me being how could I say it, kind of like rough around the edges of the street type of person, you know what I mean? Because I grew up outside, like uh in a hooded area, but I grew up in the church. So my parents always kept me in the church to keep me off of the streets. And I was kind of like, that was my goal, was like, just while I'm in LA, I know so much that goes on in LA. You hear all the rumors, and like you said, everybody's being exposed. So it was kind of like, man, I want to go to church. I just want to stay off the streets. I want to do something positive, and that's why I got attacked really the most. But I fought through it, didn't let it deter me from my goals and my ambitions that I had in LA. But I just felt like, with everything going on with social media, every social media outlet that we have now, you don't really have to be laying and sitting in LA 24/7. That was more of the 90s and the early 2000s. You got the Instagrams, the TikToks, the Facebooks. There's so many like outlets, YouTube, that you can get your message across without having to get on that plane and saying, look, I got to go live in LA just to make it. And most of the stuff that I was doing was really like just a phone call away. Somebody was like, yo, I need you to come over here to LA. I got a show. Oh, cool. I'll fly out, then I can fly back home. I spent most of my time really just trying to pay rent. You know what I'm saying? So like the money that I was making, it was hard trying to invest in my kids because they were going from children to teenagers. I have teenagers now. So it's like, okay, your foot not the same, your clothes not the same size. So life is really starting to hit.
Life is life,
So
man. Yeah.
life is life, and it was more of, okay, do I keep paying my half of this $3,800 rent to stay with a roommate? And I just turned 40, so I'm like, man, I've been humble enough. You know what I mean? I've had enough humility to the point where it's like, I don't want to be 45 with a roommate. I don't want to be 48 still living with a roommate, still trying to figure out, okay, what does life have to offer me? God already done showed me what he got for me.
That's right.
Only thing I got to do now is just go get it, obtain it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was my goal. Yes, it hurt when I got on that plane, and nobody really knows still that I've actually moved back home. But it was like when I got on that plane for that final trip, because I had pretty much like packed all my stuff up, whatever, you know what I mean? I started giving little pieces away here, and they just blessed people. I wasn't even selling it. I know you might need these. You wear a size 9.5. Oh, them look good on your feet. Ooh, you don't want, nah, you take them shoes.
God, I
Oh
love you,
man,
Danny.
them extra shirts and stuff that I couldn't. Oh man, nah, man, you need a shirt, don't you? Or seeing homeless people on the street, blessing them with clothes or blessing them with the leftover food that was in the refrigerator. You never know what a bottle of ranch dressing may do for a person who say, look, man, I'm digging in the trash can, but this ranch is a blessing to me. You know what I mean? I've seen so much in Los Angeles to the point where I got in my own way. I was in my own feelings in the sense like me coming out, being downtown, coming out of a building where I'm down there shooting for like all death or shooting for a wilding out or shooting for anything. But I'm seeing people laid in the street, butt naked. And that definitely rubbed me the wrong way because I'm like, God, you didn't mean for us to be out here struggling like this. You didn't have this for us. You had so many riches and berries and everything for us out here. Like this is a free world with free stuff, and we should not be out here struggling. So when I got on that plane, yes, I did cry. But I also had a goal, and I knew I had a mission. I said, look, this is it. Once I go home.
How has that, Danny, how has that journey affected your work, your comedy? And let me tell you, like I met Danny through church. Danny and I attended the same church. I left LA as well, Danny. But what I do remember is that even when we were in the midst of all of the tsunamis and trials and fires in our personal lives, one of the things that was true to form is, Danny, you always were able to bless people with a laugh and a smile. I directed all of the shows for my church, and Danny was a blessing to every child in the hood, in the church, nationwide, who was sitting in that audience to see him become Frosty the Snowman. I mean, Frosty. He took on a role that we know we have to make into a film, but how has all of this transitioned your work? Has the comedy now exploded? Are you able to be more honest about who you are in the comedic world? And how are you using it now to heal others and tell other people to go back to their authentic selves, back to God, back to their knees, back to the truth?
Well, to be honest with you, Mom Pike, you know me, I'm more of, I don't know if I'm too humble or I don't know. I've been still trying to figure this out because so many people run down on me after seeing me in the videos all over the social media or seeing me in the play at the church or seeing me in
your
this
new
movie,
film,
my new movie that just came out. But I just still be like, all right, you know what I mean? That's cool. I don't really be on the celebrity sense. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what they be on. Like, man, you're a celebrity now, you this, you that. I'm like, man, I'm still Danny. You know what I mean? Like, I know you got a flat tire. Let me help you get the flat tire. You don't need to call AAA outside of them just sitting here looking me in my face. Like, oh my God, you're helping me. Like, I mean, that's what we supposed. That's what God put me here. But the thing, my answer to your question is, I have been blessed ever since the Frosty. I did not or even want to do the play, to be honest with you. I did the play off the strength of you and Mila. I never forget it. I called you and told you, I said, man, Mila, she really wants to do this play. I remember everybody was so frustrated, but I said, I'm going to do this for the kids. And it was a role that I didn't think was going to turn into anything. Like, you know, everybody still to this day calls me, hey, there go Frosty. I'm like, wow, like y'all still on this?
That was my favorite show that I've ever produced and directed, ever.
But it was so fun. It was so fun, like doing it. Yeah, and I was like, and I thought about it. I was telling her, bro, Taven, a while back. I was like, man, I said, Mom, probably about to turn this into an actual movie. This needs to be a movie because
you and I just talked about this last week, and I just got signed with the big lit agent, so we're doing that.
Wow.
Yeah, we're doing that
because the way that we broke down the character of Frosty, that was just, I've never seen it broke down like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and how we just put a whole spin on it so that everybody could gravitate towards the character, but also the word I'm looking for, they could, it was somehow they just fell in love with the character. It was like,
we brought his humanity.
Yeah, we just brought so much humanity. Brought so much out of it. And it was and it was really supposed to be
Linda and I are here like we didn't see the play and we know about Frosty. So I'm going to ask you to do this, Danny. Can you compare your real life self with the character Frosty?
Oh my God, yes.
How did you relate to that character?
So much, to the point it was like he was questioning everything. You know, Frosty was always questioning, like, man, like, is Jesus really real? Like, you know what I mean? Like, does he really have us? You know what I mean? It's does he really care for us? You know, it's one of them. Are you sure about God? Are you doubting God? But you really saying like, look, I know now because I was locked up with Jesus. You know, we was locked down and he held me down. You know what I mean? He had my back. So it's in that sense of like you can put it into your everyday life. Do you trust the person next to you? Not just your companion. We talking like friends. We talking family. Do you trust the person next to you? Do you believe in what they're saying? Do you believe in the message that they have for you? But we could be around so many people, we could be so nonchalant, like, yeah, you're right. But you don't really think they're right. You're just going along with it. You have to firmly believe in everything. And I believe that role really kind of like it helped spark something in my life and it helped change my life in a sense. You know,
Wow.
I kind of needed that. Because like I said, I didn't really want to do the play at first. I was really just trying to come to church to lay low. I never really wanted nobody to know, oh, I do stand up, I do act, but I just trying to be shy with it. I just want to be, let me just be the usher at the church. I stand at the back door and just, you know what I mean, guard the door. But, you know, your gifts will make room for you.
Your gift will make room for you.
My grandma used to always say that, man. Your gifts will make room for you. And that's what happened. My gifts made room for me. Like I said, my
Wow.
pipe, she brought it out of me. You know what I mean? When I was really just trying to lay low. And I knew the whole time, I was like, man, I really could. I read the script. I said, oh, man, I got this. I'm finna really, yeah, turn it into my own. And we had a good time with it. And
We did.
it's crazy. Like I say, anytime I go back to the church, it's never Danny. It's always, they go Frosty. Even the adults, you know what I mean? Like,
Because all
wow.
the kids, they believed you were Frosty the Snowman. And talk
And the
about
adults
making,
did too, though. That's what got
I
me, the
believed
adults.
it. I believed it. But also in making room for your gifts, we have Linda Schwartz. When I tell
Yes.
another Southern Belle,
Hey.
Linda's gifts are so profoundly layered and broad. I mean, she is a healer, she's a writer, she's a novelist, an editor, she's a mother, she's a comedian. I'm going to let Linda talk to you about what brought her into comedy, who she's become to this day, and what makes her laugh, what keeps the marriage alive, the child going,
Oh,
these
no.
friendships in bond, and why is laughter such a good medicine in your life, Linda?
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. And just to be transparent with time, I have to get out of here in about 12 minutes, so I'll try to keep it as concise as possible. But my name is Linda Schwartz. I you know what's interesting is that I just want to touch on what Danny said about your gifts making room for you and how when he showed up at the church, he really just wanted to hide out um and just be the usher of the church or whatever. And you know, I just came out of a 4-day seminar. It's a spiritual seminar called Insight One, Awakening the Power of Your Heart. And over the weekend, I just got broke wide open because
Wow.
one of the things that came forward for me in that seminar is how I've always wanted to be seen and be heard. And yet every time I take the stage and do comedy, I still feel invisible. And one of the things that I've come to know is that I've been hiding behind these inauthenticities that mask itself as humor, right? Like I haven't dealt with a lot of things, and one of the main things that came forward for me was this um you know, not being mothered and not having a mother, having a mother, but not being mothered the way that I needed to be mothered as a child. And what that cleared up for me is like how I've been masking my light in the world so that I can be mothered, so that I can be received, so that I can feel some sort of love and some sort of acceptance. And, you know, I come to comedy because like who doesn't like to laugh? That's like, you know,
Right.
who doesn't want to feel good in the arms of an audience, you know, and being on stage for me is cradling that need for myself But having seen what I've seen now after this weekend, it's like, wow, like I really have to come to terms with the light that I am, with the availability that I am to show up and just really be my authentic self. And what that looks like is, all my flaws, all the shit. Like, before I took this seminar, you know how when you register for something, all your shit just starts to show up?
Yep.
Like my seminar started on Thursday. On Monday, I go to Legoland. My husband says something to me, and I was like, "This motherfucker." I was like, "No,
Say one more
not
word. Say one more
today.
word.
Say something. Say something. We in Legoland right now. What you gonna say? What you gonna do? Because I'm about to lose it, and I'm
Right.
about to fucking strangle you right now." And I'm like, and then I get home. And like I'm still in that energy. I'm trying not to, we ignore each other all day at the Legoland.
Sleep on the edge of the bed.
Yeah, I'm trying to have fun with my son at the Legoland and trying to, but it's in the way. It's clearly in the way. Whatever happened is clearly in the way for me being fully present with my son. So we get home, I'm like, baby, to my son, I need a hug. And he has this little cape on, and he gives me a hug, then he pushes himself away from me and it's like, "Your hug ruined my cape." And I was like,
Wait, he said what? He said what?
"Your hug ruined my cape."
Uh-uh.
I was like,
Oh.
you know what? And that like threw me over the edge emotionally, mentally. Like I was like, you know what? Let me just, I gotta leave the house right now. I'm gonna,
Right.
like comedy is messy. Life is messy. I had to leave the house. I found myself just like blindly driving to a taco shop, and I get myself a burrito. I go to my safe place, which by the way is a Target parking lot. And I'm just eating this burrito with extra hot sauce in peace, just thinking about like the shit that life is sometimes. And and like I go into this webinar and I'm coming to terms with like just this aspect of like myself that I need to clear, because I show up on stage and I'm very polished.
Right.
It's hard for me to this next stage for me is it's hard for me to like really just be myself. I get that a lot. Like I work with a lot of coaches and they say, you're super funny. You just got to show up and be yourself. And part of me is like too scared to show up and just be myself, and clearing all of that over the weekend has given me the opportunity to look and see and know like how I show up every day isn't perfect. I've yelled at my son a lot. I've yelled at my husband a lot. And like, I mean, I was this close to leaving my husband 2 years ago because his ass wasn't entering the food trap. Okay. Like I was like thinking about leaving this man who has been loving me and providing for me and been like holding space for me to do my comedy, because his ass wasn't emptying the food trap in the sink. Okay. So it's like there's that stuff that comes up is real life,
I have a question
And
for you, Linda. That was so powerful what you said your son said to you. I'm
yeah,
taking it all in what you just said. And my question to you is, in that moment when your son, how old is your son?
4.
And your son's authentic self, little 4-year-old you, he said something to you. Did you hear him?
He said, "Yo, hug ruined my cape," and just started crying.
What
And
do you think that meant for him?
that meant, like, well, so, he's 4. He's in a developmental stage where it's like, what's his is his, and how he wants things has to be perfect, and how he wants things has to be a certain way. And like, I realize he picks that up from me, from my husband, from, how we do life, right? And his upsetness, like, you know, it wasn't a moment that I've reflected on, to be honest with you, because it was such a triggering moment for me where I was like, you know what, I can't handle this screaming and this crying. I've just been like upset all fucking day, my damn self, because of what your daddy said to me at Legoland 10 hours ago. Okay. Like,
So Linda, the workshop that you went to, okay,
yes,
it was hugging you.
yes,
And
yes,
your husband was the reminder that your cape ain't perfect.
yes,
But your son was just like, it was a mirror for you.
totally. I get
You
that.
wanted that
Yes,
mothering, but wait a minute.
yes,
I don't want it like this.
yeah. That's
I
so
love
fast.
it. Thank you. I thank you for sharing that because that was
Yeah. Well, and the thing is like, and that's the way that comedy shows up for me too. It's like it's this hug, it's this thing that allows me to feel good inside, not only because I'm a contribution to the truth of what's real for me in my life, but also like for the audience when they recognize that truth and they recognize, that we're all human. It's like it's an instant recognition. They don't have to think about
Absolutely.
it, right? And it's almost and it's like it's this moment of like almost instantaneous healing in a way that we not healing in a big way, but just little by little, a little bit at a time, one laugh at a time. It's just this thing that activates a little bit of that, serotonin in your body where you feel good and you feel connected and you feel, even for a minute, you feel healed. And
You
it's
guys have a
like,
memory of the first of anything that ever occurred in your life, childhood, where laughter is what got you through?
Yep.
Anyone have like the first memory where they were like, "Oh, this works"?
as a comedian.
No, just as a person. Because most of the people that find that comedy works become comedians or some type of performer. My brother Eric became this brilliant performer. He found that comedy worked if people were trying to bully him on the outside.
yeah,
If somebody was calling you outside your name as a child, you found that two things could happen. You could be the one that gears up and gets into a fight. You could be the one that makes them laugh. They'll call you the class clown, whatever that means. It got people through slavery. It got people through the Holocaust. It saves lives in prison. Comedy has a way of making everyone put down their armor and put down their
Yep.
sword. And I'm just wondering, do both of you have a memory of when you realized that you disarmed a situation and you went, comedy works?
that's
This,
interesting because,
Go ahead.
I don't remember a specific moment, but I do feel like that's how that's just how I got through school. That's how I got through class. I mean, just showing up every day. And, I used to wear my brother's clothes and my brother is like, 5 years older, 7 years older, 9 years older than me. And I'm this little itty bitty teeny tiny little thing and I didn't have clothes. So I would find his shorts and I'd show up in like baggy clothes, as a way. And people be like, girl, what? Listen, I'm in my I'm in my element, okay? I'm doing, like, and it's just so
yeah,
there were moments of that. I don't remember like a specific thing, and they would
but
just be like, "Girl, you
making
crazy."
comedy out of being insecure that you
Yes,
didn't have money,
didn't
resource,
have
clothing.
right.
That
Yes,
was smart.
yeah, and I don't remember like a specific moment where it was like, "Oh wow, like I can use that." It was like every day, and it was like a survival mechanism.
Danny, how about you?
Uh, I was 8 years old and I found out that I was adopted, and I had anger issues and nobody really knew. Like I've always been funny, like you said, the class clown since elementary school, Miss Benson class, second grade, who now I run into and she says the same thing. I knew you was gonna be a comic. But nobody ever knew what I was dealing with on the inside personally. Me not having my biological mom in my life, my biological dad in my life, me going to school and people like, oh man, you got it made, bro. You got both your parents at the house not knowing, yeah, these are my adopted parents, but these aren't my biological parents. Yeah, even though your dad not in your household, your mom is raising you, but you still have that umbilical cord. I don't. So I dealt with that mentally a lot. So I turned to making everybody happy, making everybody laugh in school, just to try to cover up so when nobody really know what my true issue was. And now I've just recently, like I said, I just started a podcast 3 weeks ago, and I've been coming clean on the podcast, like just talking about my life. I said, everybody needs to know who Danny really is. Everybody just knows, oh, he's funny, he's a comic, he's from Fayetteville, he's this, he's the member of Mega Top 5, you know, he used to play ball, but don't nobody really know Danny. Don't nobody really know my real name is Chris. You know, so it's so much that I held in for so many years just to try to, I felt like I was holding back my parents who adopted me secret, in a sense. Like my mom, now that I met my biological mom, my biological dad just came home he came home May like 15th. He was serving a 25-year sentence in prison. My biological mom did 6 years in prison. So, but they was young. Like my dad had me, my dad was 18, my mom was 17 when she had me. Compared to my parents who raised me, when they adopted me, my dad was just turning 40 and my mom was just turning 37. So they was a little older. So I was raised by an older family, which kind of like helped me to nurture me, because what if I didn't have that nurturing? Only God knows what would have happened, you know? So that very moment right there, I think what helped save me to nurture me into the comic that I am today, because nobody truly knew, like, man, this guy's really going through it mentally, because nobody knew I was adopted. Nobody really knew, like, I was like, man, where's my biological mom? Anytime I got a beating at home, I'm like, man, you're not really my mom. You can't be beating on me. You know what I mean? So as a child, you just don't know that she's doing it, but trying to help prepare you for the world. But
That's
mentally, you thinking as a kid, you're like, man, you ain't my mom. You know, being very rebellious. And from the moment they told me at 8 I was adopted, I dealt with it in a bad way. But I'm grateful, like, through the years, I've grown. Even LA helped me grow through that whole ordeal, that whole situation. And
you just
that's what
said
helped.
something, Andy. You said that you're letting people know who you are through this podcast, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, the intimacy is the highest form of healing. That's why people go to therapy. You're
Right.
actually sharing. Now, you said they didn't even know your name was Chris. But
Yeah,
what
my
it sounds
biological name.
like is you didn't even know who Chris was either.
I didn't.
Just like you told your mom, you ain't my mama. You really ain't my mom. So do you see how through life we are identifying who is who and what is what? And it all comes back to that mirror? The layers, like you were talking about your authentic self.
That's so
Yeah,
true.
you know, Linda, do you and Danny, I love that. I love what you just said, Cam. Have you ever looked in the mirror? Like you said, it's terrifying being on stage and being your authentic self. You know, you feel invisible when you come on stage. Have there been moments of real vulnerability, like Chris is sharing? I'm about to call my D-Rag Chris. Like these moments of real vulnerability. Do you ever present them on the stage? Do they become a part of your comedy for your own healing, or are they still kept hidden in order to protect you from judgment from strangers, from the outside world?
I'll answer this and then I have to go. But like, okay, so you know, for me, I think the healing, I think before I talk about anything on stage, I have to be healed from it, or like I have to at least get to a point where the speaking of it doesn't trigger me the way that it used to. And I mean, you know, I do share that I'm a foster kid, and you know, and I have a joke about that, and there's like little layers of that throughout my set. But also, you know, the vulnerability for me is to just show up without a plan. Like I've been kind of, you know, this last year was all about showing up, doing my 15-20 minute set, and then like doing it exactly the way that I've planned it, the way that I've done it, that way, you know, just doing that. But recently, these last couple of shows I've been on, I've just shown up, and I improvised a few times, and that was really scary for me. That was like showing up and just like not knowing what I'm going to say and then just having the words falling out of my mouth and like trusting that I'm the channel, I'm the vessel that this is coming forward, even if it wasn't funny, you know, just sharing stories and connecting with an audience. Once they know that you're not perfect, know that you're not, that you've had a life, I think that's when they become more, when the affinity starts showing up and they, you know, they enjoy you more, they feel more connected to you. But for me, it's like it's just showing up and not knowing what to say. Like that's the biggest leap of faith for me, is just to show up, to show, to trust myself in the process, to be available to what comes forward, to be the possibility of life, you know, coming through me in that moment. And when I'm available to that, then I feel like whatever comes forward is God's work and my life's work. You know, I have my stories, I have my life in me. So, you know, if I'm called to share whatever I'm called to share, and if that becomes a laugh, or even if it doesn't, maybe they'll connect to something that doesn't make them laugh and say, wow, like that really opened up something for me, you know. And I don't think comedy is I mean, the laughter, of course, is the release, but like that tension building, that like if you feel something when I leave the stage, you know, even more than laughter, then great. Like I'll just share this one last thing. I had a show. It was a bar show. It was a late show. It was like a 9:30 show. And I try, and it's rare that I do these shows, but I showed up for this show and there was like 4 people in the back. And by the time I got there, 2 people had already left. And then when I started my set, one more person left. So there was like one person in the audience. And I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna finish my set. At the end of that set, the kid comes up to me and he was like, oh, I just wanted to let you know that I'm a foster kid too. And like in that moment, it was like
It was supposed to be just the two
it
of
was
you.
just the two of us.
Oh,
And in that moment, I just felt like I just fell in love with this person. I didn't even know his name. I just fell in love because I knew him. I knew him and he knew me. And I'm gonna cry about, and like
I was
literally
cried too.
like honestly, I mean, and I've done club shows where I've been in front of 200, 300 people, and this show was like the most important show that I've ever done
Mm.
because of that one moment of like just that
You
love.
showed up. You've been showing up. You've
Yeah.
been showing up.
Yeah.
And that's why I was clapping for you, because I know you have to leave, but I just want to thank you for showing up. Even
Yeah.
when you don't think you showing up, you're showing up.
Yeah.
Polish, raggedy, whatever. You show up. Your energy is
And can I
infectious.
tell you that you
Yes.
showed up authentically today?
Yeah.
I mean, you were butt naked authentically today. You were. Because you said that sometimes you go on stage, you feel invisible, but you literally sat here. Maybe it's because you know me, you trust me. And if you trust me, you trust the other people that I love. I don't know, but whenever you stand up authentically, it is magnificently beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for having me on this. I hope I don't know if I said anything of value or like if it was helpful for anybody, but I got to get going, but
We love
I
you.
love
I know you got
you
to go get
and
that
thank
baby.
you.
Love, love, love.
Send love,
Thank
send love
you.
to Huxley, her baby
Will
Huxley.
do. My little baby genius.
Your
I'm
little
gonna
baby
I'm gonna
genius.
get that baby. Okay, bye. Love
Bye, I
you.
love
Bye.
you. Oh, that was so beautiful. I have really wanted, Danny, for you two to get together. Your stories are so in alignment.
Wow.
No,
Yeah.
they really are.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to connect those two for quite a while. Because one of the things, the reason I wanted you both on today, why Cam and I wanted you both on today, and I think I heard it, and I'm gonna let Cam also step in as a therapist and the wisdom that she knows, as a doctor on what it is that I'm about to say. But what I heard, and I hear it a lot with comedians, I hear and actors. the loss of parent, not having a parent, having this brokenness in childhood, going through foster care, poverty, a parent may be, like you said, incarcerated, with an addiction, someone trying to hide their sexuality. I mean, this happened. This is what was going on with so many comedians. And then when they can't become authentic, then drugs and alcohol come into play because it numbs that wall between them and the audience, where no matter what comes back at them, it's not going to hit personally. But one of the things that I have found, and I know this because I was an actor my whole life, children's theater all my life. I used to stutter as a child. I mean, I had a horrible, horrible stutter because I was being sexually abused by my babysitter. There was so much more that was going on. So I used to stammer my way through life until I hit the stage and did theater. When as soon as I was placed on a stage, and I was somebody else, all of the love and pulling myself out of the basement where my assailant, would pull me down to, coming up on that stage, I received all of the love through the applause, the just having other people outside of what was going on internally say, you're okay, you're loved, you're heard, you're seen, meant everything to me. And it actually kept me going. And I was wondering when I was hearing you guys talk about those things and seeing that you're in the transformational evolution, you're on the other side of it now. Now you've walked away from the Hollywood and the need for it all to make it
Yes,
an
ma'am.
foundation. But did it lead you to the stage, to acting, to theater? Was it a way of receiving the love from the parents, from the birth parents that wasn't present? Did it heal a wound, hearing the applause from the outside? Or was it too much of a flashlight? Was it shining a light
I,
and
I think for
forcing
me,
you to
it was more of the applause. You know what I'm saying? Me receiving all the applause from the fans, and me just being able to touch the stage. I think for me, that's what kind of like helped me get through it. You know what I mean? That was pretty much my therapy in a sense. Like I said, we go through the ups and the downs of so much, but we never talk about everything. We just keep everything embodied in, and that was my way, like you said, my way of releasing it off. Just here, whatever I'm saying, whatever God is giving me to say right now in this moment, here, take it. Because anytime before I even touch the stage, I always be like, man, God, these are your people. So whatever you see fit for me to do and say here tonight, just use me as your vessel. Even though we have our own format of what we want to talk about, it's still okay. Because I've been on the stage a few times where the energy has shifted through the whole room. Like, okay, I'm finna come up here. I'm finna talk about this. I have my topics. I know, okay, if it's an 8-minute set, if it's a 15-minute set, or a 25-minute set if I'm on the road, or if I got the headline 45 to an hour, I want to talk about this. But you liable to hit the stage and God done shifted the whole room because you just
right?
told me what? Use me as your vessel to speak unto your people. This is what you want me to talk about tonight. So, and then he'll give you a whole new 20-minute set. You like, man, I don't even know what I was talking about. You know what I mean? I've been there.
That's
I've
that
been in that
anointing.
moment.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because then I come off and people like, hey, man, that joint was funny, man. Tell me that joke again. I'm like, oh, yeah. Try to laugh. But I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't even know what you were talking about. You know what I mean? Because that wasn't me. That was just the man upstairs because I had something else
You
I
know what,
wanted to talk about.
Danny? You
Yeah,
know what? That point
talk
you
to
just
me.
made, why don't we just do that every day though? Why does it have
Exactly.
to be? Have you noticed that that's what we as a human, this is what we do? We only want you to show up when we like need you on stage. We only want you to show up when we got this big project at work. We only want you to show up when we got that big game. If we really just submit, let go, surrender to win every day,
Mm.
sunset, on sunrise or sunset, your vessel.
Yep.
That takes the words right out your mouth.
Well, you know what? Also, Kim, you just said a word, because if we are in that be still and know that I am God moment where we're supposed to be all the time, if we're in our stillness, then we're always hearing from God. If we're truly always hearing from God, then we'll allow ourselves to be a vessel for the voice and the spirit of God at all times, so that every time we hit a stage, whether it's to make a speech or to do comedy, every time then we're speaking directly what the spirit has to say. So that was transformational, but it also allows you to trust, Danny, to
Mm-hmm.
trust that you and the spirit of God are always in unison. that the Spirit of God will always speak through you. And you don't have to remember what it is, because probably the greatest humor on the planet's got to be God. There ain't no
Yep.
joke.
How about
Look,
that?
look, God's got a humor, honey.
Like,
It
dude, you
has
done
an
left
excellent sense
from
of humor.
Hollywood to coaching. Like, this is what life is doing. And Chris, who is Chris?
I love
Right.
that. I love
Who
that.
Who
is
is Chris?
Chris? Where did that name come from?
My biological mother. When I first met her, I was 29 years old. So it's been about 11 years now since we've known each other. And when we first sat down, that's what she told me. She said, you know, your biological name was Christopher Gray. I was like, oh, okay. Like, how did it switch? She was like, well, whenever I guess you went into the system and you was adopted, your adopted parents switched your name. And because I always thought I was born here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, but I was originally born in Charlotte, North Carolina. When my mother, she said, we were originally from Winston-Salem. And her water broke when she was with my grandma when they was up in Charlotte, which is probably about an hour and a half away from Winston. And I never forget it. She was like, yeah, my water broke. So we had rushed you straight to the hospital. But my dad was like, you know, either you're going to have an abortion or you're going to give him up for adoption. So I told her, I said, I'm glad you chose the other A word, which is adoption. I mean, because I felt like I was an angel sent from God, you know.
You
And
were, and you
then,
know the name Chris is really, that comes from Christ, Christian. And
You are
and
the light.
and he said these from Salem, which is where all the prophets were. You know, people called them witches, but they were prophets. I mean, it's so perfect.
Dude, your name they named you Daniel?
well, my adopted family named me Daniel. Mm-hmm.
So you were Daniel in the lion's den. Like you went, look at this. Look how it's full circle. Do you see this?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Wow.
The light, the Christ consciousness is now. You are the light, Christopher.
You're right.
Oh yeah.
You're right.
You had to leave the darkness. You had to get into the endarkenment when Hollywood had to happen.
It had to happen. And I'm not even, like, my spirit is so, like, pure right now, and I'm at peace, even though that I'm home. Because so many people are like, oh, man, are you coming to LA? And
Nope.
I had just got an agent, man, and I felt bad because I felt like, oh, man, I just got an agent. Y'all been trying to help me get booked on so much stuff, but I really just ain't been hitting back because I'm just like, I'm at peace where I'm at right now. You know, I'm out here on this football field by myself, cutting this grass. Me and the head
I
football coach.
love this.
I love it too. We over here cheesing.
I love this.
Yeah.
We up here
And
cheesing. I noticed, I said, Cam's up there cheesing. As soon as Cam said Danny's the light, I was like, you know what? And you're literally the light everywhere you go.
I am.
But you
now
really
I can
are.
truly say that. I can truly say it now. I think that was my issue before. I wasn't believing because everybody would say it. Anywhere I go, people going, man, like everybody want to be around you because you got good energy. You know what I mean? You got to protect your energy. So that was one reason I really wanted to come back home too, because my energy was I was being drained. You know how you start off at 100 on your phone, and then halfway through the day by I know for me by 11:30, 12, my phone is on like 20% in the red. And I felt like that's how my body was. I was like, man, everybody pulling at me. Man, come be over here. Why you want to be over there with them? Come be over here with us. Man, we need your energy over here. And I'm like, I need my energy because you don't really know what I'm personally going through. Like, I gotta protect myself. But it was like when you just such a good, genuine person. That's what another person told me. They're like, man, he's so genuine. Everybody want that because don't nobody have that every day. You know, because like I was saying, so many people say, man, I gotta watch the next person I'm next to, or I gotta watch my brother. Or I gotta
who are you
know what
seating
I mean?
at your table? That's right.
Yeah, who are you putting at your table?
That's
you know what I
right.
mean? And with me, it was more of when I came home, man, God had everything. And I had just did a show out in Detroit. I did a show in Detroit. I bought a ticket for my birthday, which is gonna be like 4 weeks later. My birthday, June 1st. So I knew it was falling on a Saturday. And I said, God, I've been asking you for almost a year, God, that I want to go to Jamaica for my birthday. God, I want to go to
Saw
Jamaica.
you in Jamaica on your birthday, looking fine, looking happy.
Listen here, so happy. But I had planned for 100 people to go with me. I had like, oh, I'm gonna take my mom, take my biological parents. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But God kept throwing shows at me. He was like, oh, just like you just said. Oh, sense of humor. You think you got everything planned. Boy, stop playing. I've been had your life planned out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell me what you finna plan. I already got it planned, but I'm gonna let you keep thinking that whatever you got, you got. So I was like, another show came in. 2 shows popped in out of nowhere. I did a show with me and Tori Hart, Kevin Hart ex-wife in Charlotte. And then my friend B. Simone came to Raleigh. I wasn't supposed to be on neither one of them shows, but they just had to reach out. So I'm like, man, I'm supposed to be planning for my birthday. You know, I'm trying to get over to plan. Man, God, yeah, you got me over here. Let me go do these shows. I go do these shows. So now I was like, oh, man, the time is the dwindling away. So I was like, I just can't plan at the last minute for 100 people to go. But I had just bought a ticket for $156 to fly one way from Raleigh to Jamaica. One way. 4 weeks ago when I was in Detroit, I was like, But he was already planning it for me. So I get the crazy thing, not even 3 days later, as I'm in Detroit, I buy the ticket. I get a phone call from a person trying to book me for a show. I said, okay, yeah, I'm with it. He was like, how much would you charge? I gave him the price. I said, so where's the venue? Oh, we're going to be in Montego Bay, Jamaica next year for 2025. Are you serious? Are you serious? I've been asking God to take me to Jamaica, but I was rushing to trying to get to Jamaica. I'm rushing, but he was like, man, just be patient, boy. I told you I got plans for you, but I guess I got to show you. So now I'm finna go to Jamaica. I went to Jamaica this year for my birthday, but he finna send me right back next year in June.
So you get to plan for your people to get there for your show.
That part. Plus, I'm getting paid this time to go. So it's like, wow, you have a great sense of humor, God. You know what I mean? So now they planning for that. But when I got there on my birthday, we got there that Wednesday. My birthday was that Saturday. I'm not gonna lie, the Wednesday, we're gonna tell you, gotta tell it right. Wednesday and Thursday, I sat down on the beach. I walked out of our resort. It was all inclusive. I walked out. I grabbed me a rum punch. Grabbed me one. I went and sat down right there at the water. And I started bawling out crying.
I'm sure.
I said, you know what, God?
So proud of you. My God.
I was like, man, in 40 years, man, I done seen it all. Done been shot at people, been locked up, done got out of jail, done been in church, and been out of church, and played football, then had 2 kids, then went through separation, went through divorce. Like, he done showed me so much within 40 years in a big circle. Oh, no, I was adopted, went through all this stuff as a kid. But one thing he showed me was that grace and mercy is still alive.
Yes.
It's still alive. Like how he's protected me, how he's kept me safe through all these years. I'm like, wow, I asked you for something, I manifest something, and look how it came to pass. I said I always wanted to go to Jamaica for my birthday. I had been saying it for almost 2 years. Came home, true thing, came home, told my friend about 2 years. I said, man, I'm going to buy that car off of you. You keep it in your garage. Nobody really know you got it. I said, I'm going to buy that car off of you. It's a 2012 Audi A7. It's one of my favorite cars. I said, I'm going to buy the car off of you for my birthday. I put, he sold it to me for $10,000. I put $5,000 down. He said, look, for the next 10 months, make me a $500 payment. Come on, man.
Come on. First of all, Danny,
all he told me to do was
Danny,
come home.
you said something, and it's getting. I feel like jumping. We're not. I'm in church right now. I'm about to jump because yes,
I see you over there walking. We rocking back and forth.
Look, we rocking.
I had to be obedient.
The spirit of falling. But let me tell you,
I had to be obedient.
You said that you asked God to get you to Jamaica, but the you. And Cam and I talked about this, the you that God knows, the one where he's no longer going, Danny, where are you? Like Adam, where are you? You just spent all this time removing your fig leaves. So when you asked God to get you to Jamaica, he was waiting for you to show up, authentic to you. And the minute you became you again, God said, now's the time. I'm not sending that character off to Jamaica. I'm not sending the man in the mask off to Jamaica. I'm sending the man in the mirror, the spirit of Chris Daniel, who I know. I'm sending that I am to Jamaica. And when you said it, I said, hey, man, it was really about his season, but he was waiting on you to say,
me.
Go home and find me.
But you know, everything I went through in LA, like the homelessness, I've been riding public transportation the whole time I've been in LA, didn't even own a car, trying to own a car because I knew how the cost of living was so high. Plus I knew like, I'm from the South, from the country. You know what I mean? Like we don't see buses and trains 24/7. So just to be able to get on it, I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is a blessing. When other people frown upon it, like, man, why you still riding the bus? Why you? Well, you just spent, sir, $56 to come 15 to 20 minutes. When I just had all I had to do was get up 30 to 45 minutes early just to come on. So it goes over so many people ahead. I'm like, I'm saving money when you spending, trying to actually do what? Make yourself look more than what it is in somebody else's eyes. You
They were
know, just
selling a dream and you had bought it. You bought it when you bought it, and it just wasn't making sense no more. The
it
math
wasn't
wasn't
making
happening
sense.
no more for you.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
And that's what
And
Hollywood does.
The math
it
ain't
definitely
mathing
does.
anywhere in the world when it comes to us stepping into those false systems and embracing
Yeah,
those false gods anymore.
yeah,
If
yeah.
there was ever a place, DC, New York, LA, and of course I've lived in from all three of them, where there's nothing but false systems, false
Mhm.
gods, false hope. None of that means anything, because when God wants to line you up for shows and get you to Jamaica and bring back your family and give you a foundation and give you inner peace on a football field in the middle of nowhere, when agents are calling from LA and there's 100,000 people wishing they had an agent in LA, and look, I mean, because none of that, all of that system's coming to naught. And there's something beautiful about all of us being called out of there. We
Yes.
talked about
Out.
this, honey. That's the tear in the wheat, honey. And look, let me tell you, I know I'm like, bind me up as wheat. I went back to the Bay Area. I'm back to my roots. I'm back to where my daddy came from, back to where my family is at Oakland and Berkeley. I'm in the back in the Bay. Four
Mm.
generations right here in the Bay. But there's something about getting out of Los Angeles to find yourself again. I didn't know who I was there. I was holding so much trauma and grief and sadness and masking it every day. And let me tell you something, I wore the biggest mask in church.
You and me both. You and me both.
That's supposed to be our
And
hospital.
in the piggyback off of that, I felt like that's what really like was my last straw that kind of like just sent me back home, because I grew up in the church, but I didn't grow up in the church like how it is out that way. You know what I mean? We jump pews, you know, you see the white sheets come out, people passing out. Like you really see God within the church in the South. But out there, I just felt like it was more commercialized. You know, everybody's there for the celebrities or there for the wrong reasons. And I'm like, nah. Even with the homosexuality stuff that be in that church. You know what I mean? We don't see that here in the South. And I ain't saying it's frowned upon, because it's homosexuality all through the nation, but it was so much out there in LA, and those people are the ones who are attacking the people who really need help the most. You know, the people that are coming off the street really trying to get off of the street, get out of the gangs and get out of the drugs and everything, and they're seeking God. But as soon as you get to the church, you got homosexuality meeting you right there at the front door, like, you look good. Where'd you get those jeans from? You know what I mean? Like, so you got to think, you got a person that's coming from outside trying to get into the church that may not be generous like Danny. That may come in there and say, oh, you talking like this? Come back in there with a pistol and shoot you all up. You know what I mean? You gotta know the people that you're dealing with on a regular. That's why I say I love people so much, because I know how to adjust to so many ways of life. You know, people from Chicago act different than people from Dallas. People from New
Well, one
York
of the
act
things
way different than LA.
one of the things that has made me want to leave the institution of the church is just that we have those labels and judgments on people. Because I
Yes.
believe that God's church, I believe that when Jesus said, I am the light of the world, and I always go back to the science, the quantum light particles, the invisible light that holds all things together, that there is no judgment, even in sexuality, when you're talking about God. What I think is that the world, this system, our society, once you put the word, this is the enemy, you put the word sexual after any definition of human spirit, it's going to take you right directly to the flesh. It has an energy of the flesh. It has an energy of what is done intimately in a bedroom, but that's not at all who we are. We are hetero love. If it's homo love, bi love, or transcendent love, if you add love to the end of anything, it's already healing. The minute you add the word sexual to it, the whole society, it's already, the enemy has already turned that into something that has to deal with base flesh, got nothing to do with love. I think that our language has to transcend and evolve as we're transcending and evolving, as
Mm-hmm.
Yeshua transcended, ascended, and evolved, and pull ourselves out of the religious mindset and the hypocrisy of what we say are the have-nots, cannot be, you're not supposed to, because that died for me with the Mosaic law, the thou shalt nots. I'm not there anymore. This is law and grace. All man is fallen. From the moment the garden fell, all man fell. Our physiology fell, our emotions fell, our society fell. But if we translate all of that into love and we learn how to unify and have a one love mindset at the base of Babel, because it's all Babel, and we learn how to simply love one another without judgment, without restriction, without parenthetical or parameter, we're going to be in a beautiful way as a people, because the rest of it won't matter, you know? But that's one of the issues with the church and with the world. And with the world, you just as much as someone can come from outside, come into a church and say, I don't want to see that at the door. Look what happens in the world. A Christian goes and knocks on the door and people go, I don't want to see that at the door. We don't want to see that at the door of school or the, so we have to tear down all the labels. Cam and I talk about the algae. All of that has to go, and all of that's part of the algae. Tell Dan what the algae is, Cam.
Yeah, Dr. Sister Jenna, am I saying it right? She talked about the algae that's in our lives, the algae, the anger, the lust, the greed, the attachments, and the ego. When you think about all the algae that's in your life and how you ever seen how algae overtakes a situation? How did it get there? How long has it been there? Nobody gonna do nothing about this?
Right.
You finally see that you've been angry this whole time. You didn't even know you were angry. You didn't know you had lust. You ain't know you was being greedy. You ain't know you was attached. Why? Because your ego's so big. You had exited God out. You edged God out in this whole time. Yeah. Now that you done got up out of Hollywood. I love that you done got up out of Hollywood. And God dog it, it's actually green grass out here. I can actually sow some seed.
You know, Cam's a PK.
I'm a PK. Okay. I'm a pastor's kid. My dad was a custom pastor. He was the custom pastor.
Pastor.
Yeah. But on some real, I see you today, and I'm so grateful that Piper invited you into this space. And you know, I haven't been on here because it's funny. My sister sent a text and she said, it's funny how people don't understand everybody got something going on.
Everybody.
Everybody. And that's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
How we gonna pull? I'm so glad Piper, she hit me up like, girl, I sent it to you a week ago. Well, because I had stuff going on, I ain't see it a week ago.
Right.
You know, and you know what?
But because of the love.
And let me be honest, because I have so much going on, as I'm pulling myself, for me, I'm telling myself, I'm trying to speak into myself. Piper, you said you were going to do something. This is me giving myself the value to say, have integrity for what it is that you said you were going to do, but I'm doing it for myself because I have so much going on that if I lie to myself, my whole house of cards is coming down. I'm trying to heal my body. I'm trying to get rid of these masses, these tumors. I've been alone in this town for 3 years. I didn't know a soul when I got here. Not a soul. I left LA and came to a place where I did not know. I only know 4 people now. It's 3 years later. I spend all of my time alone, me, my dog, at the river, walking, meditating. And if I'm going to have any interaction and connection to the human spirit, this is the season. I needed that time of isolation to find my way back through trauma, drama, and grief. And I have loved having these moments of commune. And I understood what was going on. I knew what was going on. And the beautiful thing is, it's like, oh, my sis can't do this right now, but another sis could come forth. And there'll be a day where I'm like, Cam, I got to go and have surgery. I can't do this right now. And you're going to come forth. We're keeping the conversation going because we've moved into this new dimension. God, this new dimension is happening. This new earth is coming. God is not playing. This is a whole nother ball game. You know, the tears. This is a whole nother ball game. We're finding each other because we were meant to find each other. You know, we were the called of God a long time ago. We're vessels of honor. Look, it's real. It's real.
It is.
Your mama,
It's
if your
real.
mama, if your mama don't do nothing else, like I don't even know where you are with that. But that's one thing God had to have me tell my students before, like, you mad at the wrong people. You mad at your mom, you mad at your dad. Man, get out of here with that. I don't even know who told you that your parents were supposed to be there like that. Somebody lied to you. That's not how this is going. How can you believe the story about Moses where his real mom put him in a basket to
basket.
save his soul? But you can't believe that that's what your mom did.
But that's also attachment. We have an attachment to labels. Let me tell you, when I walked away, when I left my husband, we have an attachment to labels. Labels are killing society. When I left my husband, I was pissed. I had all the reasons too. I said he done did this, he had an affair with this, he done lied about this. I had all these labels. And then one of the most awakened, beautiful sisters, who was in Sister Jenna's Brahma Kumari, she sat me down and she said, "You've listed all of these things that make for a terrible husband." And I said, "Yeah, I was just as self-righteous. Ooh, he was the worst husband. He did that, blah, 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 blah." And then she said, "So who told you how a husband was defined?" I was trying to be smart. "Oh, I learned it in the Bible." Yeah, I was trying to be. And she said, "Uh-huh." And then she said, "Okay, so take away the label. Pull that away. I want you to place that exact person next to you and put your best friend's face on it. And let them tell you, I have an addiction. I'm having affairs because I have a sex addiction. I'm struggling with alcohol. I was abused as a child. I'm going through ABC. The exact same story. I want you to look, and your best friend is telling it to you." And when I heard I had all of this compassion. My heart opened up. I just wanted to hold. And then she said to me, "Well, because you labeled him husband instead of labeling him, child of God. You loved him in the parenthetical of the label. If you had taken the label away, you would have fallen in love with his heart and soul and had the same compassion that you just had for the invisible friend who put you through the same thing." So it's all part of that labeling.
God is good.
We got to let those labels go.
Christopher, your
I
mama
love
knew
y'all.
exactly what she was doing. She might didn't know what she was doing. Your dad might didn't know what they were doing. And I don't even know what kind of resolve you got. I'm not here to tell you to think otherwise. All I'm here is to confirm that feeling real deep down inside, because see, I'm a mother and I know what an umbilical cord does with your child. There's nothing nobody can change about that.
Right.
It was divine for her to be the portal to get you here.
Yeah.
And so that Christopher, I like to hear Piper talk about the light, the Christo, the Christ consciousness, the raising of it, and how we are really evolving to a whole nother dimension, whether you want to or not. Hey, you talking about getting left behind.
Right.
He's an evolutionary God. See, the church has stifled the evolution of God. Like I said before, the church only celebrates the birth and the resurrection. It's either Christmas or Easter. But Yeshua showed himself around more than 5,000 with 2 holes in his hands and said, "I've risen." So if we're going to go from the ascension and he says, "Follow me," then in the ascension, where did he go after that? Where are the lessons? Where is his spirit now? Don't take me on a road backwards. I don't want to go backwards. I'm going forward. This is an evolutionary process. This is a creative God. This is creator. It doesn't stop. Now, you're not going to close a door on me and have me stuck in this small little capsule and call that God. No, once he broke out of that tomb, he took off, and I'm plan on following to where he is now, not where you want me to take him back, not because you want me on the deacon board, not because you need money out of my wallet, you can build another room, not so that you can alienate LGBTQ people, not so that you can have the second seat in the pew because you're wearing a fabulous outfit, not so you can do a reality show, not because you can sing. No,
right.
no, honey. My you got to work out your own salvation in fear and trembling. My knees are trembling every day when I look in the mirror. One thing about leaving LA is you will look in the mirror and find your authentic self. You will remove those fig leaves. You will find beauty. God will give you beauty for ashes, and you'll bear witness that the ashes were what you once thought were beautiful. It's not beautiful anymore. Anyway, I love y'all.
Can I ask
Love
him
you too.
before we go if he could tell us what's next? You ain't got to put all your business out there, but
what's next? I'm actually I've been working on writing my biopic. I want to write a story about my life. Cause it's funny you said Moses, because I grew up on Moses, watching the story of Moses every Easter at my grandmother's house. And I always used to question, like, why she always got me watching this movie, The 10 Commandments, with Charlton Heston playing Moses. It used to be like you can watch it for 3 hours, and they broke it down into 2 days. But I watched it all the way from a child, and I know every bit of it. And I always said, I want to play Black Moses.
Guess
So
what
I
my
really
son's name is?
Moses.
And
Wow.
he's a DB. He plays
Wow.
And let me tell you about the Black man who also went to the mountaintop and saw the promised land. Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
We've had many Black Moses. This is gonna be a new Black Moses.
This is it for you. You better
take this. You better take this new Moses.
Yeah.
Look, you about to
He
grab
said,
that
who
man.
do I say? Who do I tell them sent me?
Mm.
Not the Charlton Heston version.
am.
Let's go ahead.
Yeah.
Who do I say? Do I say my adoptive parents? Do I say my real parents? Do I say Hollywood? Do I say Frosty? What do I say? Say I am.
That's who sent
I
you.
am.
I can't wait for you to do that.
That's the manifester right there. That's Jamaica. That's the choir. That's the family.
Manifester.
That's bigger than where you at right now.
Cam, you manifesting. You're about to change the lives of so many young men and women because your story, people are like, I'm being heard, I'm being seen. Wait. God's got that for me. That door is opening. That's the anointing. Oh, this is beautiful.
Let's go.
Let's go. Anyway, we have to say thank you.
Man. Thank you.
Thank you to Danny. Also, let us know when your next shows are.
I got you.
And you send me a flyer. We'll pop it up at the end. We want people to support you in prayer, support you in love, support you in energy. Look, we also call it green energy, honey. Green energy is, a little green energy.
Yes,
doesn't hurt. Gets us going and going to the shows. And guess what? We just ended this show. Look, Cam, at 11:11.
Oh my God.
Man, God is good.
No,
God is good.
real. That has been in my mind. I looked down. You had said something about 11. It was like 11 years ago. Your mom told you. And I looked at my phone. It was 1:47 my time. I said, dang, when he said at 11, I was looking for that angel message. And it just came. I'm done with y'all. I'm done with y'all today. Like,
my face thing came up. This was amazing. And the fact that we got Linda. Danny, stay in touch with Linda.
Definitely, I will. Yeah, she usually hits me up
Linda.
on Facebook. We stay in contact.
Yeah, I'm gonna and you have her number. Yeah, yes, I love you both so much.
Love you too. Definitely. I'm finna get back out here and do this work.
This is the Dream is Love conversation. Thank you for bringing your dream. Thank you for bringing love. Cam, you want to say?
Nah, all I got is the light, man. All I got.
I know that's right.
I'm just like, okay.
Peace. I love you. I love you.
Love y'all.
Bye. Thank you guys.